In life, we are on a constant pursuit for our slice of the pie. The pie comes in many forms, whether it's starting a business, higher education, pursuing a career, raising a family, and the list continues. The burdens we face during our pursuit is lessened when we are financially fit. The Breadwinners created a platform where we can discuss finances and entrepreneurship in a judgment-free space. We're striving to encourage healthy financial discussions amongst our peers to capture our slice, until we no longer want a slice and would rather bake our own cake. TV dads growing up, who was your fave?
TV dads?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, well, Full House, I would have to say Bob.
Bob.
Good old Bob. Yeah.
You know, Uncle Jesse was my guy in Full House. I mean, he had the motorcycle, he had the hair, he had the jacket.
Yeah.
I mean, he had swag before swag was like even,
Absolutely. He still does. He still has swag.
Definitely, definitely. So, you know, I'm a big fan of being an investor, but there's a big difference from being an investor and being a consumer.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, investing and being a consumer, I feel like you are looking at it just through a small lens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just narrow focused on your needs and what you are getting out of it. When you're an investor, you have a wider lens and you're looking at the whole picture. So you're able to look at things from all angles and see more than just the average consumer can.
Absolutely. I mean, I think about, I was teaching in class 2 weeks ago and we were talking about Apple and his Apple car.
Uh-huh.
And everyone was thinking like, oh, this car is going to be so cool and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, the car's ugly. But what I think is really cool is what is that stock going to do when that Apple car actually is announced? So, and they were like, oh, I never thought about that. And I said, yeah, at some point you transition from being like being a consumer to being an investor, but you'll never stop being a consumer, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, you're always a consumer.
But
yeah.
one thing we absolutely love is it's like the pursuit of like happiness, the pursuit of being fulfilled. So when it comes to your slice of the pie, what is that?
We actually were just talking about this last night. We had a networking event that we're going to, and just, I love the journey. So I love the idea of building something. I love the idea of working with others. I love the idea of always learning. You know, there's so much to learn. I can't possibly know everything. So I think for me, the slice of the pie is that always just like yearning to connect with different people in different industries, learn more things, build. How can I make a mark or fulfill my purpose that our creator put me here for? And so along with that, then reward comes with that as well, and all those other benefits. But yeah, I think it's just like chasing it, building it. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not about the trophy, it's about what it took to grab it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Especially when passion meets purpose. So
it's so much more meaningful too.
Definitely.
You know, like knowing like all those blood, sweat, and tears that went into it.
It's tough, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's entrepreneurship, right?
Absolutely. Not everyone's cut for it.
No, no, absolutely not. It's a lot of long nights. You trade in your 8 to 5 for a 24/7, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's tough. Okay, Roni Lynn, tell us about you and your brands.
Yeah, so I have a few different things going on. So I guess, like I said, I love the journey of being an entrepreneur. I knew from a young age that sitting behind a desk and a 9 to 5 was not my purpose. I was not created to fit this mold that a lot of people try to fit everybody in. You know, one size doesn't fit all. So I knew that from an early age that whatever I did, it was not going to be traditional. It wasn't going to be in this thing. So I started actually in high school in the beauty industry.
Okay.
So it's a funny story. My parents, we went on a cruise, and my mom treated me to a day at the spa. And I remember this so clearly. The feeling that I had afterwards, I got a massage, I got a facial, like all the things, right? And I remember just feeling so amazing inside and out. And I told my mom, I said, I want to do that for people. And like, I want to make somebody feel how amazing I feel right now. Like, it wasn't just an outer thing, it was an inside thing too. And so she started doing some research, and I started my journey in the beauty industry. I started with massage, I went to esthetician school, makeup school. So that's kind of like my background has been in the beauty industry of all facets since '98. And then I do some direct sales companies selling beauty products, healthcare, nutritional supplements, makeup, things like that.
Okay.
I've had some amazing opportunities doing runway makeup in Paris and New York, working with various photographers and different TV shows. So yeah, it's always fun and different. And then recently, I branched out into something completely different. I branched out into luxury car rental.
That's great. That is completely out of your comfort zone.
It really is. And I mean, I have different goals too that I want to achieve. I eventually want to get into some real estate too. And my father was and still is an entrepreneur, and he was in real estate, had his own company, and it was just bred in me. So.
Absolutely. So how did the business get started for luxury rentals?
Yeah, so I actually have two partners that I'm partners with currently in this. Okay. So, and they're like my best friends. So my one friend, Scott, is my partner, and he lives out in LA. And me and his wife have been best friends for such a long time. Nice. She actually helped manage one of my salons. So she came from she's a hairstylist. So long story short, we've worked together in various capacities. His background is IT, and we like, again, business and building. And we were seeing some trends over the last few years in the car industry. We both have a passion for luxury vehicles, exotic vehicles. I love motorcycles. I love anything that goes fast. You know, I mean, like, who doesn't love a beautiful car? Right. Unfortunately, like, my bank account doesn't have the same feelings that I do about luxury cars. So we've talked about this, you know, idea, and Scott kind of started it out there where he bought a nice car, and then he wanted to buy another car. And Brittany, you know, being the woman of the household, is like, okay, how are we going to afford this? How are we going to pay for this? And so that was right around the time that Turo was coming out. So he was like, I got this idea. Like, we could just cover our car payment and it'll be fine. It'll justify the car payment, right? So nothing would be out of his pocket. And so that's really how it started, organically, just like that. And then they started making more money than the payment and like the demand, and it just kind of grew from there. And so, you know, we were talking about it, and he's like, I think this could be a business. And again, you know, just watching the trends that were happening in the economy. Mm-hmm. What was it, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the Fair Act, Credit Fair Act trade. So that changed, and so that changed some of the lending opportunities for people to get car loans. So that was a big increase, and so you're seeing more people renting cars, and then, you know, obviously it was just like a perfect storm of what happened with the pandemic and the whole rental car industry. I mean, everything from Hertz going bankrupt to, I mean, it's just complete insanity, really. Yeah. And it just it just took off, you know? So we've been watching the trends and kind of staying on top of that too, but it started as a hobby. It started as a fun thing, and then we're like, wait a minute, this could actually be something.
It's funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
It certainly is. I mean, every little thing that I've done, it's funny how they get started. And we're like, hey, I didn't know this could be a thing. You know, because One of my loves is cars. Like I absolutely love cars. I love motorcycles, and I have quite a few. And my wife is like, no, like that. Let's slow down here, you know. But a fear of mine is when it comes to like a company, renting like Turo. It's like people won't respect my vehicle. What's your thoughts on that? Like, should you be emotionally attached to the vehicle that you rent on Turo?
That's a really good question. So I don't think you can. My husband has a classic car that he absolutely loves, and then he said like, well, maybe we could rent that out. I said, you're not gonna let anybody touch that. No, you can't do that. That's a classic car. So yeah, I don't think you can't be too particular and you can't totally love it. But I love every car that we have and I love to drive it, but I'm okay with letting it go if something happens. So you have to be okay knowing that something happens. But also, you know, Turo is such a fantastic company. They take care of you if something does happen.
Okay.
So, they definitely, they're on your side. They will handle anything.
So for a lot of people don't know what Turo is.
Oh, yeah.
They still don't really understand it, but can you give us like a 50-foot view of what Turo is?
Yeah, so, and there's a few different platforms out there besides Turo too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is quite a few now that have, but Turo definitely set the pathway and is, I would say, the most popular, and I trust them the most just with my experience as far as having the backing in the company. So basically it's like a timeshare for your car, if you will. So people will list their own cars, like what's the home, like when people list the homes. Why can't I think?
Airbnb?
Airbnb, it's like that for cars. So you could own a car and you could list it. So what Scott would do is he knew how many days he needed to rent out his car to cover his car payment. So maybe that was just like 6 days out of the month for him at that point. So he would just list that. You have a calendar. You could say when it's available, and you could set a price of how much you want to, rent it for. You could set it for if they want to come pick it up, if you want to deliver it to them.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple. Turo kind of takes care of all the background information and insurance and checking the license and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, like it's
nice.
really pretty, and you could be hands off with it, where you could leave a car somewhere, they could come pick it up, or you could do a handoff situation.
Yeah. I've never met a person like a host, and everywhere I go, I always use Turo because I just love like getting in nice cars.
Yeah.
Like cars that I want to buy, but I'm like, she won't let me buy. And then I'll use Turo and take it for the weekend. But I've never met the person. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, this is like an $80,000 car.
And you're just like, here you go. I'm trusting you with everything.
With everything. But I love Turo, and you brought up a good point about it being passive.
Yes.
Because to me, like, passive income is like so sweet, right?
Oh my gosh, it's the best.
But there's a lot of questions, like a lot of, the things that you fear what you don't understand.
True.
Or what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a natural emotion, right? Although we shouldn't fear it, but until we do our due diligence, it can be a little scary. So when we're thinking about strategy for Turo, what made you go the luxury car route?
Well, again, we were watching the trends. A little bit is selfishness.
Because what you like, right?
Because I like nice cars.
Yeah.
And what would I want to drive? And it's fun to like be able to have that, like you said, when you go to a different city, you drive different cars that you might want to buy, but maybe you can't, or try it before you buy it. So so for us, it was, we like luxury cars. We like the nice things. We were watching the trends too, and what was happening. And with the shortage from the chip shortage from the pandemic, and so kind of catering. So we saw that there was this need because there was not a lot of luxury cars out there. You could not get your hands, and you still can't get your hands on brand new cars. So difficult. We actually have an Escalade ESV, and it has the TVs in the back, which you can't find anywhere because of the chip shortage.
That's crazy.
So that's kind of where we, anywhere in business, you always have to learn how to pivot and how to adjust, and shit happens.
It does.
I mean, shit just happens sometimes, and you can't control it. who would have thought there would be a pandemic 2 years ago? And everybody had to shift. And so when the rental car industry, travel just stopped, like completely stopped when that happened. And the traditional rental car companies, they sold out their fleets. They had to figure out, they had to let go of people. They had to figure out how to basically liquidate and survive. And then, so now there's that trickle effect of the shortage. And so you can't find luxury cars. So we found like a niche that works for us that we wanted to cater to. And so that's kind of why we landed on luxury and new ones. So our cars are the Escalade is a 21. So we have 21 and 22. So everything is brand new.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us your fleet. Which vehicles you have?
Yeah. So like I said, we have my partner is in LA, Palm Springs area. So here in
nice.
I know. So
Palm Springs. We're headed to
just this little place.
Yeah, it's a little small town. You probably heard of it before.
Yeah, that's right on the beach. So we are in a fortunate position where we can have the opportunity to transport cars back and forth if need be for like events and things. But so here in Cleveland, we have an Escalade ESV. So that is the sports edition, and it has the videos in the back. Oh yeah, the sports one is nice. It's white, the black grille, it's beautiful. And then we have a Maserati Levante.
Oh, nice.
Right? Oh my gosh. And that one is black with the red interior.
Has the red seats?
Oh yes, it's so slick. And that thing is fast.
I bet. That's the truck, right?
It's the SUV, yeah. That thing is so fast. And then we have a BMW X7, and that is white with the camel interior, and that thing is just beautiful.
That's the big one. That's that's nice.
That's our most popular one.
Is it?
It is. We had some Range Rovers out here before too, and we thought Range Rovers were going to be the hit in this area, just kind of like some research that we had done. Nope, that X7, that is the most popular vehicle that we have here.
That's crazy.
It really is. And then, of course, in LA, it's a little bit of a different market out there in Palm Springs. So we have a couple of G-Wagons, McLaren, Porsche.
Oh
just a few little things over there.
Yeah, just a couple. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Of course, he is going to fall in love with a McLaren. Who wouldn't? In LA, of all places?
Yeah. And then we just got oh my goodness, it's a Mercedes. I don't even know what it is. It's out there.
That is so dope.
It's a beautiful car. There's not many of those that were made, and I'm drawing a blank of what it is. But.
No, that's perfectly fine. So, okay, so let's say if you choose the luxury route, or if you choose, let's say, I want to go like Honda Accords, Civics, the basic cars. So when you determine like your brand, right? So now how do you determine the price? For that?
What we did in the beginning, just to kind of like learn the market, we trusted Turo. So you could there's a setting on Turo that could just be like auto. And Turo will gauge what's happening in the market, what city you're in, and it will adjust the price accordingly. So, so maybe on the weekends, Turo will up the price a little bit. Maybe during the week, it's a little bit lower.
Are you serious?
Yes. So you could have an auto setting, and you could just let Turo determine what you will do. Once you get to so what I would suggest, and we didn't really know this until we got into it,
right?
And we learned about this is if you're starting out, people ask about this all the time, like, well, what cars would work in what market, or what cars do you suggest?
That's the biggest question.
Literally any cars are working right now. That's the beauty about this craziness that is happening right now, is any car will work. Funny story, me and my husband actually went to Hawaii back in September, and we could not get a car to rent there, and we were talking with the Uber driver. People were renting U-Hauls as rental cars because they could not get their hands on anything. So it did not matter what vehicle you have, people need it. So minivan, actually one of my best friends, she has a handicapped child, and so she has a handicapped minivan, and those are in need. So there's different aspects you don't even think of. Like, she travels out of state to do therapies for her children. And so if some people who fly across the country who don't have the opportunity to drive, they are in need of things. So, any car will do. Any car will do. But Turo, In the beginning, what we would suggest, let Turo do the automatic pricing just to kind of get your name out there. And there's algorithms with Turo too that we didn't realize. Same thing with social media, right?
Yeah.
So if you have the opportunity and can just go and do like a lower price to just get your name out there and get exposure and kind of get a few trips, they have something called an all-star host. So as soon as you reach a certain number of trips and have good feedback and get reviews and things like that, then you could become this all-star host, and then your cars will come up at the top of the list.
Oh, that's nice.
Sooner before everybody else's, right? So if you could do that, I would suggest do that. Just kind of like, don't sell yourself short, but kind of like do what it takes to kind of just get your name out there, get like your first 10 rentals, and just kind of build up like a reputation. And then from there, then you could kind of see the pricing, you could kind of adjust that. So that's what we do now. Like we started on the auto pricing. Events will adjust our pricing based on what's happening in the city.
So like All-Star Weekend, was that a crazy weekend?
It was so crazy.
I bet. I know it was very lucrative for a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate in Cleveland. Like we have a lot of things going on. I mean, we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We have the Football Hall of Fame. There's an event there. There's a tennis event now that's at Nautica in the summer. So this will be the second year that's coming here.
It is. It's by the flats. Yeah.
So they're like, it's a kind of a cool thing that we get these events that come to town. So when All-Star Weekend was here, we were just so excited to be part of that. Again, we had to pivot our normal routine of what we were doing. So we catered to some of, the elite athletes and some celebrities that were coming into town. So traditionally, we would rent our vehicles out, right? So we would leave them at a location or meet somebody, and they would take the car and they would drive. Now, for this, we were able, again, to pivot. They didn't want to drive themselves. They're,
nice.
They're a little bit a different caliber of a clientele that we normally have. So we were fortunate to have access to security team and people to drive. So we have a drive team and security detail that we subcontract out. So we were able to accommodate for that for All-Star, and it's definitely some interesting
stories.
Stories of fun. I mean, definitely around the clock, busy. I mean, between the parties and the events, and you learn so much about what happens behind the scenes, and it was just it was fun. The energy in the city was amazing. Obviously, business was, business was booming. That was great. And just, again, it was a good opportunity to connect too, and just bring Cleveland to the forefront. And I don't know, I enjoy networking and talking to people and hearing their story.
Absolutely.
And things like that.
Relationships are so important.
Heck yeah.
So important. And the only thing sucked about that weekend was the weather.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, Cleveland, really, of all days, can you just give us one decent? We can take 30 degrees in sun. Just give us that. But why does it have to be so crappy?
Oh my gosh. The wind, and the one night I remember driving, I mean, it took me like 2 hours to get back home, and I was in the Escalade, and I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't see anything. It was so crazy.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So let's say, you know what, I want to do this Turo thing. Do you suggest that person forming like an LLC, S Corp, or some sort of formation to separate themselves from the liability, or do you think it's a little premature? They should try it out first.
I would say a little premature. So, I mean, this resource is available for anybody. So take advantage of that. Like, they already, you don't recreate the wheel if you don't need to. And right. if you don't, if you could just do something casual and test it out and see if you actually like it and if it works for your lifestyle, and instead of investing in, a fleet of vehicles or your business and unnecessary money that you don't have to do. So, I mean, that's like I said before, that's how we started, just organically kind of came to be. And then once you get to a certain point and you feel like, all right, I like where this is at and I see the potential and I want that, then you could take the next step. So with Turo, you could have just a personal platform on there, so just casual rental, and then you could kind of start to ramp it up if you like a little bit more, and then you could actually move your platform to a business platform.
Oh, nice.
So Turo is really great, like I said, as far as their customer service and willing to help you grow. They have different tiers of payout for you. The insurance is a huge thing that people don't understand right now what is going on. And like when you own like a rental company and the liability and the insurance that comes with that traditionally. So there is insurance that's attached through Turo. So that's one headache off your plate that you don't have to worry about. Turo will take care. I mean, obviously you have your normal insurance and your renter will have insurance, but Turo has traveler's insurance as well on top of that.
Oh, that's huge. I was going to ask you about that.
You're covered with that. So there's different tiers as far as payout and responsibility and how much you want Turo to handle and how much you want to handle. So you could start out like, at the highest tier where you're getting paid a little bit lower and Turo's getting paid a little bit higher, so your risk is not as great. And then you could start to adjust your tiers and change it, and then you could move up to a business platform where you have a little bit more flexibility. You could change your pricing a little bit more. So Turo really lets anybody start, see, grow.
That's a really good concept because I don't like the all or nothing.
Yeah.
Because the all or nothing is like, should I, shouldn't I? So I like that concept. And I like that approach as well because some people think I just got to go all in. And it's like, no, you can just take your time, which is pretty cool.
And that can be really scary to people. And some people, the way that they want to handle business and it may not be that, like you said, that all or nothing. So maybe they have a full-time job and they just wanted to start to do something on the side a little bit. This gives them that opportunity without like putting all the risk and consuming their life at that time for that. So I think it just gives the normal everyday person a chance to experience a little bit of owning your own business.
Absolutely, and I think we're in that
slice of the pie.
Absolutely, we're in that space, that entrepreneur space, and I absolutely love it because I'm kind of I envy my kids because it's like, dude, you have Google, you have YouTube. It's like, how can you fail a class now? You use a laptop in school, so. I don't understand it, so I think that is pretty cool. So let me ask you this: what were some of your reservations before getting into Turo? Or did you have any?
I mean, for me, I was more excited just because that's my nature, and I just wanted to get out there and like get building and meet people and just see where it takes. Obviously, like keeping up with payments and just making sure that we could keep up with everything, and I still have time for my other businesses and my family and my kids. And then, so that was like a little bit of a fear there. And then working together with my friends.
That's always fun.
Yeah, super fun. And then, but just making sure that like we could all stay together and that works too. So that's a different dynamic too, when we kind of started that way. So a little bit of fear that way. But because we started slow, because Scott started in LA first, casually, and like I said, it organically came to be, we were in a position where some of the vehicles out there were paid for already, so we didn't have any payments left on those vehicles.
Oh, nice.
So we kind of had like an escape plan.
Every business have an exit plan.
So that was something that was kind of important too. Like worst case scenario, everything goes, astray, nothing works out. How are we going to get out of this? And, so our families don't suffer.
Absolutely.
So we made sure that we had that in place too. Safety net, for sure.
Every business needs to have one, regardless of what you're doing. You got to have if ish hits the fan, my family's going to be straight because it's up to us for their future. Exactly. And that's why I love passive income and side hustles, because you think about the concept of working at 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, which is, I don't knock it. It's perfectly fine, right? It pays the bills. So, but someone, either your manager or some regional, whomever, determines how much money you're actually going to make. And that money that you're going to actually make is going to determine the lifestyle you can provide for your family. And when you think about it from that perspective, to me, it's kind of selfish if you don't do something to earn some extra cash for your family, because they deserve to be in good neighborhoods. They deserve to be in good schools. They deserve to take vacations. I mean, who's going to say my kid doesn't deserve a vacation?
Exactly.
or doesn't deserve to go to prom doing wearing this or whatever. So that's why I'm so big on passive income and side hustles, and diversification is like, I love it.
Absolutely. I mean, because traditionally there's this cap of how much, and it's somebody else determining what your worth is.
Yep.
And that's kind of like what, when I started in business, that was a little bit of a hard concept for me, like knowing my worth and knowing my family's worth and knowing what I will settle for and what I won't settle for. And like you said, like they deserve to go on this vacation or do this. And growing up, like I said, my parents, they were the best example of entrepreneurs because I saw all of it. I mean, I saw the hardships where we were, you know, scraping money and we couldn't have the nice things for a little bit. And then I saw the rewards also where we went on vacation 3 to 4 times a week for 2 to 3 weeks at a time.
Oh my God.
You know, like had the full run of Disney World because we had timeshare and we could go anywhere and buy anything. Like, you know, so I had a little bit of a spoiledness too, and the luxury of that freedom, and that's what comes with that. And it doesn't have to be. It could be a passive income just to have that little extra freedom.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to consume your life.
Yeah. In the beginning, it kind of will, because in entrepreneurship,
you got to figure it out. Yeah.
You're gonna grind, right? You cry sometimes. It's rough. So, for me, a fear of mine with Turo is, what if they trash your car? Like, what's a process when you pick up your car and you're like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
What's a?
All right. So I will be completely transparent.
Please do.
We had a car stolen. So I think that is the worst thing that could possibly happen. We had a car stolen. So it was a Range Rover. One other thing I will say, benefit to having a luxury vehicle is with the technology on these ones, you can do the handoffs without being there. You could lock the car remotely, and Turo has it where the renter can unlock the car from the app as well. There's trackers on it. We could see there's cameras all around on the vehicles. Like we could see where it's parked at all times. So like with these luxury cars, there's a lot of extra features as far as security, and you could see like if it's something like gets damaged. So we had this Range Rover that was stolen. It was the most bizarre situation. Stolen from a renter. We're not sure still if the renter was in on what happened. But we were able to track it. We saw where it was, and also with Range Rover, you can see if anything is damaged, like if a window is broken or anything like that.
Oh, that's nice.
So we were watching it the whole time. It was not damaged. It was actually drove from Cleveland to Philly in a really bad neighborhood. And we called the police, obviously. The police could care less. And the next morning, Turo was in the worst neighborhood in Philly, on a flatbed, and had our Range Rover on there and delivered to us.
Wow, they did all of that?
Yeah, before the police didn't even do it. They just filed some paperwork. The police didn't even do anything. But Turo was there on their own flatbed, and they brought it right to a dealership so we could have a new key made. That's crazy. So fast. There was no damage. I mean, it was amazing how fast Turo took care of us.
What's that? That's like an 8-hour drive.
Oh my gosh,
from here to Philly?
Yeah.
He or she probably had the time of their life.
So that was like the craziest thing that we had happen. But I'm almost glad that we did in the beginning, because that's like one, fear, or like how your car is going to come back if it's going to be damaged. I know that Turo has our back, and I mean, they were calling me nonstop, like checking up. I mean, even after they called to make sure everything was good, they were on there. I mean, it was awesome. But yeah, I mean, if you get your car back, I mean, we had a couple scuffs like on the rims.
Yeah, curb rash, yeah.
Yeah, some stuff like that. But we've been fortunate that we haven't had anything like completely trashed. We've had some unique smells come back in a vehicle.
It's weird.
So we might have to do a deep cleaning on that. But we've been fortunate. But I feel like if something does happen and there is extensive damage, Turo will have our back, and they will, take care of that.
Okay.
And you take pictures beforehand, you take pictures after. So, I mean, it's easy to show what happened. And Turo has the customers' card on file and things like that. So Turo will take care of it, and then they will go after the customer. We got a couple of not speeding tickets, but like the tolls or whatever, camera things. Similar situation, we uploaded it, Turo paid us right away for that, and then Turo charged the customer.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so Turo's like your business partner.
They handle a lot of the uncertainties.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a big question. If they drive from Cleveland to Youngstown, you got to pay that toll, right?
Right.
Or if they get into a car accident, or if my car come up missing, it's going to keep me up at night because the bank is like, dude, I don't care what you do with the car. Give me my money on the 1st or the 15th, the 13th. Whatever y'all do is whatever you do.
Yeah.
So that's a fear. That's a common fear for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then what's your thoughts on meeting people to do the exchange or doing it remotely?
Yeah, I mean, my husband was a little worried in the beginning too, me being a woman and like going to meet somebody.
There's crazy people out here.
There really is. So the hands-off remote situation is a beautiful thing. And sometimes he was a little worried about people coming to the home at first too, because sometimes we'd have people that just came to our house to pick up the vehicle like in the driveway. Again, I feel very confident in Turo's background check, and because you have to upload your license on there, your insurance card, and Turo has to like approve you to be a driver. So again, we've been fortunate enough that we haven't had any issues. When I do meet people, it's in a public place. It's during the daytime. So I mean, I take my own precautions. I'm not meeting somebody, at 10 o'clock at night at their house or anything like that. Like I'm meeting in a public, well-lit area.
Right.
Or if they do come to the home, it's a hands-off situation where somebody else is home too. But we enjoy doing the hands-off as well. That works really well for us because you don't have to then, you're not dictated of like what time you have to be there and stuff. It's more of that passive income. I'm just going to leave the keys in there. It's locked. You could come during these hours to grab it, drop it off between these hours.
And then you're good to go.
Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. I like that.
We do airport drop-offs a lot too. So whether it's Hopkins, Akron, or some of the private airports, people like coming into town, I'll just park it there in a parking spot and take a picture of where it's parked and they get it.
And keep it moving. Yeah, I did that before. There was a fee for that. Or is it?
Well, you have to, like, I'll leave some, like, every renter, or host, I should say, probably does it a little different. I leave money so they could get out of the parking lot.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Most of them are like, nope.
Yeah. I'm really big on customer service. I think that's another thing, how I jumped from the beauty industry to luxury car rental. It's still a customer service. And it's still talking to people ahead of time. You have conversations with your renters. I like that. We have water bottles that we had made, so we'll leave
It's
a
the
water.
little thing. Oh my God, it's the little things.
Yeah, it's just those little extra things that set us apart from the others.
Especially when you're getting off a plane and you're like, you're out of there. You're not spending $6 on a 20-ounce Dasani in like the airport lobby. So that is nice. I do enjoy that when I get my my car.
We had some families that came in too, and it was around Halloween. So I had talked to the renter, and he was explaining the situation. Him and his family were coming with him on this business trip, and so I put a couple little candy bags for the kids in the car, and he was just so ecstatic. It was just like a little thing, a couple little Halloween candies, but like they were traveling from LA, so I knew that was a long flight with kids traveling.
Yeah,
not fun.
No.
So, anything that I could do to help their experience, I'll do.
I love that. I love that. It's the little things.
It really is.
It certainly is. Okay. So now we have our, I'll put this here. We have our Turo, everything is going well, we're making money. So now the finance part comes into play, right? So what are some good tips you will give to people that have that passive income, the money's that's coming in, but they still have their traditional income to where they're like, okay, this handles my bills and my everyday expenses. So is the Turo money free money? Not for you, but in general, is that free money, or what would you advise with doing that?
Keep everything separate. I would advise.
Oh, nice.
Keep things separate. So I made that mistake early on in business where things got a little mingled, and that could be a little confusing, not only for you, but for your accountant.
Yeah.
And for the government too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, just so if you could keep everything separate, I mean, save like your gas receipts, because that's going to be a write-off. So there are benefits to it.
Okay.
Even if you don't create an actual business per se, or LLC, you can also on your taxes, and your tax advisor can kind of guide you on that. You could be a sole proprietor and still run it like underneath your social, and you could still reap some benefits from that. So that's
absolutely,
yeah. So if you keep everything separate and organized, it can save you some money in the long run. So, because you're always going to fill up gas for your renters, right? So that car washes, like any maintenance that you maintain on your car can now also be a write-off.
Yeah, we love write-offs.
Yes, absolutely.
I love write-offs.
Yeah. So a quick conversation with an accountant, if you don't have one or if you currently have one, that could save you money and kind of see what your situation would be. But yeah, it's not like free money.
Yeah, no, some people treat it like free money.
You still gotta be responsible with it.
Absolutely.
You still gotta be responsible with it, but you can have some fun with it too.
You better. You
absolutely,
have to.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of balance.
Yes.
So I like for you to have nice things. Like I want you to have nice things, but it has to fit within that budget and fit within your financial goals.
Yeah.
So if you make some extra money, sweet. Don't go spend it all and think you're going to get it back the next week or next 2 weeks or whatever, because we all know as an entrepreneur, one day it's malt liquor, the next day it's champagne. And then it's back to malt liquor, right?
Really fast. really fast.
So,
that's what my mom would always tell me growing up, that I have champagne taste on a beer budget.
Yeah, we all, absolutely. I wish I could drink Moet and Chandon and Ace of Spades every day, but no.
Right?
No, you grab a 6-pack of Coronas and go watch some TV.
Yes, and just pretend.
Yeah, that is so dope. I think so. Okay, so as far as what advice would you give to someone that's thinking about it, want to take that jump, but they're a little timid?
I think have fun. I think that's kind of like, where are you in your life? And if you could be organized a little bit, if you could be disciplined with, okay, I'm going to have my responsibilities, I'm going to do these bills that need to be paid first, and then if I have any extra money, then I could kind of reap those benefits. I think if you stay on top of it and you kind of watch it, and you could have fun with it, and you could enjoy some benefits. Absolutely.
Yeah, it gets fun after you do all the dirty work.
Yeah.
I swear, entrepreneurship gets really fun after you do all the dirty work.
It really does. So again, if you're not focused, if you don't have tunnel vision, because some people can't see past, okay, all this work or this time that it's going to take for these few months or whatever that time frame may be. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be some struggles. You're going to fall down. You're going to get up. You're going to learn. You're going to make mistakes. And I feel like that's part of growing, not just in business, but in life, you know? So entrepreneurship is a whole encompassing of growth, personal growth journey. So, it could just bring so much to your life that you didn't even know. I know it sounds kind of funny, but it's not just a business thing. You will grow personally in other ways. So if you're looking just to kind of make a change in your life a little bit, Turo is a great way with a low risk. It definitely is a low risk. You could kind of put your toe in the water first, but be prepared to work for it also. Take some time. Don't just see the immediate future, see the big picture, and give it a try.
I love it.
And okay, it doesn't work out, like try it with your personal car. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like it's your personal car, like, so there really isn't any risk if you're just doing maybe just your personal car. The risk is very low to start with, especially when you have Turo's backing. And like with that tier, and make sure that like the majority of it is on them. And like I said before, then you could kind of grow with them as you feel more comfortable.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I mean, the world needs cars. There's plenty of business out there, and the demand now is the time if you're thinking about it, because I mean, we still have a little bit of time with this stuff that's happening in the economy and the shift and the change in the rental car industry. I mean, but it's needed right now. So if you could fill that void and
absolutely, you find a space in the market where it needs where there's a need, you take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But this is, of course, Slice of Pie podcast. I'm a financial planner on the company called The Breadwinners, and this is all about entrepreneurship and personal finance. But we all are human as well. So one final question that we do have, since we all are human and we all have vices, what's one of your financial vices that you have?
Going out to dinner. Like nice dinners.
Okay.
Yes, it's like me and my husband enjoy nice food and dinners, and it's pricey.
I know.
Especially when you have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So either like, just because sometimes our lives are so busy, we'll order food a lot too.
That's how it is now.
And that gets really pricey. Like a couple $100 here, there. I mean, it starts to add up.
It does.
And so we don't really, and we never say no.
That's always one of the pitfalls is when you're spending, like $60, $100, $80, $40. You don't realize until you get that credit card bill at the end of the month. You're like, wait a minute, what? I owe this? I spent this on that? Yeah. I go through it a lot. So.
We don't have big vices or splurges. It's those little things.
Yeah.
My husband is Amazon. Like, there needs to be a lock on that Amazon because with everything just digital and you could order anything and you don't see it.
It's so convenient. I mean, I order a lot of my stuff come from Amazon. I'll say that's my wife's vice. One of mine is sneakers. Like, I still love shoes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big
I
shoe
was
guy.
admiring yours.
Yeah, I'm a big shoe guy. So March was a rough month. It was a rough month, but then you know what? I had to have that talk because I got that Amex bill, and I'm like, dude.
Oh man.
Like, you lapsed. So April, what's today? Middle of April, we're good so far. So. Okay,
so how many sneakers do you have in your collection?
Oh, right now?
Yes.
Oh, that's easy. I don't know, maybe like 150. But a couple years ago, before I sold a lot of my shoes, I was like well over 400.
You could wear a different pair of shoes every single day of the year.
Yeah, what's crazy, I'll probably wear only 5.
Oh my goodness. So what do you just like look at the rest of them?
I'll grab a beer.
Tell me this.
You'll have like your shoe room. I had a shoe room. So I'll just kick it with my shoes. It's weird, but it's one of those things.
I love it.
I've been a sneakerhead since like 93.
I love it though. I was watching like a documentary on it. See, this is where I feel intrigued because, and then being the brain that I have, I'm like, man, there's a lot of business in this.
Oh my God, tons of business in reselling shoes.
So this is what intrigues me about different niches in the world and the backstory behind them, how it came to be, people's story, and just the entrepreneurship that is surrounded in this sneaker community. Because I was like, wow, I didn't even know all this stuff. It's so cool to learn.
It certainly is. And you know what? We can definitely outro on that. Finding different niches, finding different things, whatever you like, your passions. Try it. If it fails, you'll bounce back.
Absolutely. As long as you have that passion and integrity, yeah.
Win.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This was super fun. Thanks for having me here.
No problem.
Yeah.